Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you're there, or noticed a loved one struggling to keep up with a conversation they used to breeze through? These moments can feel like little blips easy to shrug off as just getting older. But what if they're more than that? What if they're early warning signs of dementia, whispering that it's time to pay attention? Today, we're diving into a topic that matters deeply to anyone who wants to protect their brain health or support someone they love. The 10 early signs of dementia you should never ignore. I'm here to walk you through each one, share stories that bring them to life, and give you practical steps to take if you spot them. Why does this matter? Because catching dementia early can open the door to lifestyle changes, medical support, and strategies that help you or your loved ones stay sharp and independent for as long as possible. Let's jump in with the first sign, because knowing what to look for can change everything. Dementia isn't just forgetting where you left your keys. It's a condition that sneaks up quietly, often years before a diagnosis, affecting over 55 million people worldwide. It's not a normal part of aging, no matter what anyone says. The good news is that spotting these signs early can make a huge difference, helping you take steps to slow its progression and live life to the fullest. My goal is to empower you with clear, actionable information, whether you're worried about yourself or someone close to you. Let's start with the first sign: changes in how you move or walk. Have you ever noticed someone's walk change? Maybe their steps getting shorter or their feet dragging just a bit. It's tempting to blame it on age or sore joints, but this could be an early clue that dementia is starting to affect the brain. The brain doesn't just handle memories, it's also the control center for balance and coordination. When dementia creeps in, it can disrupt those signals, leading to subtle shifts in how someone moves. I think of my old friend George, a 74-year-old who loved his morning walks around the park. Over a few months, his confident stride turned into a cautious shuffle, like he wasn't sure where his feet were landing. His family thought it was just stiffness, but a doctor later connected it to early dementia. You might notice things like trouble balancing, tripping over nothing, or even struggling to use everyday items like a spoon or a toothbrush. If this sounds familiar, don't just write it off. A quick chat with a doctor can help figure out if it's dementia or something else like a treatable condition. Simple steps like balance exercises or brain-boosting activities can also help keep things in check. Now, let's talk about another sign that's easy to overlook: changes in your senses. Have you ever found yourself bumping into furniture more often or struggling to judge the distance to a step? Dementia can mess with how your brain processes what you see, hear, or smell. For example, my cousin's mom, Ellen, who's 79, started having trouble pouring water into a glass. She'd miss it completely, spilling water everywhere. At first, we laughed it off as clumsiness, but then she mentioned she couldn't tell how far away things were, like the edge of a countertop. That's a classic sign of trouble with depth perception or spatial awareness, both of which rely on a healthy brain. You might also notice a dulled sense of smell. Maybe you can't pick up the aroma of your favorite flowers anymore, or food tasting flat. Another red flag is sensitivity to noise. If a noisy restaurant or loud TV suddenly feels overwhelming, it could mean your brain is struggling to filter sounds. If you're seeing these changes, try keeping a log of them to share with a doctor. It could be dementia, but it might also be something fixable, like a vitamin deficiency or medication side effect. Let's move to the third sign, trouble finding the right words. Have you ever had that moment where a word is right on the tip of your tongue, but it just won't come? For most of us, it's no big deal. But when it's dementia, it's more frequent and frustrating. You might hear someone pause mid-sentence, searching for a word like table and saying that thing we eat on instead. Or they might mix up names, calling a friend by their sibling's name. I saw this with my uncle, who started calling his grandson by his own brother's name. It was confusing and a little sad, but it was a sign we couldn't ignore. This condition, called aphasia, can start small, but grow, making conversations feel like a struggle. If you notice this, try brain games like crosswords or even reading aloud to keep your mind sharp. And don't wait to talk to a doctor. They can run tests to get to the bottom of it. These first three signs, changes in movement sensory issues, and word-finding trouble, are like early whispers from your brain, hinting that something might need attention. They're easy to miss, but catching them now can make a big difference in what happens next. Let's keep going in the next part to explore more signs that can help you stay ahead of dementia. Stick with me, because your brain health is worth it. Let's keep going with our journey through the 10 early signs of dementia you should never ignore. These signs are like little signals from your brain, and paying attention to them can help you or someone you love take steps to protect your health and independence. We've already talked about changes in movement sensory issues and trouble finding words. Now let's dive into the next 3 signs, which can be just as subtle but just as important. I'll share some stories to make these signs feel real and give you practical ideas for what to do if you notice them. Ready? Let's start with the 4th sign, losing interest in the things that used to light you up. Have you ever seen someone who used to love their hobbies, maybe gardening, knitting, or catching up with friends, suddenly seem like they just don't care anymore? This loss of interest, often called apathy, is a big red flag for early dementia. It's not just feeling a bit down or tired. It's a deeper shift where someone starts pulling away from activities or people they once loved. I think of my friend's mom, Rose, who was the heart of her book club for years. She'd light up talking about the latest novel, but then she started skipping meetings, saying she just didn't feel like it. At first we thought she was just in a rut, but it kept happening. She stopped reading, stopped calling friends, and seemed emotionally flat. That's what apathy can look like with dementia. The brain's ability to spark joy or motivation starts to fade, and it can show up as skipping social events, ignoring hobbies, or even seeming less responsive to happy moments like a grandchild's visit. If you're noticing this in yourself or someone else, try gently re-engaging with small, meaningful activities like listening to favorite music or taking a short walk with a friend. It's also worth checking in with a doctor, as this could be dementia depression or even a treatable issue like low thyroid. Keeping the brain active with simple pleasures can help, so don't let this sign slip by. Now let's talk about the 5th sign, sleep troubles that go beyond a restless night. Have you ever found yourself tossing and turning, unable to sleep, or maybe sleeping all day and still feeling exhausted? Sleep changes are a big deal when it comes to dementia. The brain relies on good sleep to clear out toxins and stay healthy. But dementia can disrupt that process. You might notice someone struggling to fall asleep, waking up constantly, or even acting out vivid dreams like kicking or talking in their sleep. My neighbor Jim, who's 76, started having intense nightmares that left him shouting in the middle of the night. His wife thought it was just stress, but it turned out to be a sign of something called REM sleep behavior disorder, which is linked to certain types of dementia. Other clues include sleeping way too much during the day or needing naps when that was never a habit before. If this sounds familiar, try setting a consistent sleep routine, going to bed and waking up at the same time, avoiding caffeine late in the day, and keeping screens out of the bedroom. A doctor can also check for things like sleep apnea, which can mimic these symptoms but is treatable. Good sleep is like a reset button for your brain, so don't ignore changes here. Let's move to the sixth sign, memory loss. That's more than just forgetting names. We all misplace our keys sometimes, but dementia-related memory issues are different. They start to mess with daily life. You might notice someone forgetting recent conversations, like asking the same question 5 minutes after you answered it. Or they might struggle to remember appointments or recent events like what they had for lunch. I saw this with my old coworker's dad, who kept asking when his doctor's visit was, even though we'd just gone over it. It wasn't just absent-mindedness. It was a pattern that got worse over time. Unlike normal forgetfulness, where you might retrace your steps and find your keys, dementia makes it harder to problem solve or even realize something's missing. You might also notice someone relying heavily on notes or reminders for things they used to handle easily. If this is happening, encourage brain-boosting activities like puzzles or memory games to keep the mind engaged. And don't wait to get a medical evaluation. Early memory issues could be dementia, but they might also point to something reversible, like a medication side effect or vitamin deficiency. Catching it early gives you more options to stay sharp. These 3 signs, losing interest, sleep troubles, and memory issues, are like puzzle pieces that might not seem like much on their own, but together they can point to something bigger. By noticing them now, you're taking the first step toward protecting your brain or helping someone you care about. Let's keep moving forward in the next part to cover more signs that can help you stay one step ahead of dementia. Stick with me, because every bit of knowledge brings you closer to a healthier future. We're in the home stretch now, wrapping up our look at the 10 early signs of dementia you should never ignore. These signs are like quiet signals from your brain, and catching them early can help you or someone you love take steps to stay sharp and independent. We've already covered changes in movement, sensory issues, trouble with words, loss of interest, sleep problems, and memory challenges. Let's dive into the final 4 signs with stories to bring them to life and practical tips to act on them. My goal is to keep you empowered and hopeful, because knowing what to look for can make all the difference. Let's get started with the 7th sign: difficulty following conversations. Have you ever been in a chat with someone and noticed they keep losing the thread, like they can't keep up with what's being said? This is more than just zoning out. It's a common early sign of dementia. The brain's ability to process and respond to information starts to slip, making it hard to follow even simple conversations. I remember sitting with my friend's Uncle Sam, who was 82 and loved telling stories. But over time, he'd start a sentence, and then trail off looking confused, or he'd repeat the same point over and over without realizing it. It wasn't just forgetfulness. It was like the conversation was a puzzle he couldn't piece together. You might notice someone struggling to find words in a noisy room like a busy cafe, or using vague terms like thing instead of specific names. This can make people feel frustrated or embarrassed, so they might pull back from talking altogether. If this sounds familiar, try practicing active listening with them. Short, clear conversations can help. Brain games like storytelling or even watching a favorite show together can keep their mind engaged. And don't hesitate to see a doctor, because this could be an early clue to dementia or something else that's treatable, like hearing loss affecting focus. Now let's talk about the 8th sign: mood or personality changes that feel like a shift in who someone is. Have you ever noticed a loved one who was always cheerful suddenly acting irritable or withdrawn? Dementia can affect the brain's ability to manage emotions, leading to changes that surprise everyone. My cousin's dad, who was the life of every family party, started getting snappy over small things like a misplaced remote. He'd also seem suspicious, thinking someone was hiding his things. At first, we thought he was just stressed, but these shifts kept happening. He stopped joking, avoided gatherings, and seemed like a different person. This can show up as increased anxiety, sadness, or even paranoia, especially in unfamiliar settings. If you're seeing this, try creating a calm, familiar routine. Familiar places and faces can ease anxiety. A doctor's visit is key to rule out depression or medication side effects which can look similar. Encouraging small, joyful moments, like listening to old songs, can also help lift their spirits while you figure out next steps. Let's move to the 9th sign: trouble-making decisions or solving problems. Have you ever seen someone struggle with choices that used to be second nature, like picking out clothes or paying a bill? Dementia can weaken the brain's ability to think things through, leading to decisions that seem risky or out of character. I think of my old neighbor Lila, who was 78 and always careful with money. Suddenly, she started buying things she didn't need, like a dozen kitchen gadgets from a shady ad. She also couldn't follow her usual recipe for apple pie, which she'd made for decades. You might notice someone getting confused by simple tasks like planning a grocery trip or dressing oddly, like wearing a sweater in summer heat. These slip-ups can increase risks, like leaving the stove on. If you spot this, try simplifying tasks, break them into small steps, or use reminders like sticky notes. A medical checkup can help figure out if it's dementia or something else like stress or low blood sugar. Keeping the brain active with puzzles or planning small projects can also help. Finally, the 10th sign: disorientation to time or place. Have you ever felt like someone's lost track of where they are or what year it is? This is a hallmark of dementia, where the brain struggles to anchor itself in time or familiar spaces. My Aunt Marie, who's 80, started asking about her childhood home as if she still lived there. She'd also get confused in her own neighborhood, forgetting how to get back from the corner store. You might notice someone losing track of days or seasons, or thinking past events are happening now. This can lead to wandering, which is risky. If this is happening, try using clear visual cues, like a big calendar or labeled photos of familiar places. A doctor can assess whether it's dementia or another issue like a medication side effect. Staying connected to familiar routines, like a daily coffee at the same spot, can help ground them. So there you have it, the 10 early signs of dementia. Changes in movement, sensory issues, word troubles, loss of interest, sleep problems, memory issues, conversation struggles, mood shifts, decision-making challenges, and disorientation. These signs are like whispers from your brain urging you to pay attention. The good news, spotting them early means you can act, whether it's seeing a doctor, starting brain-boosting activities like puzzles or walks, or making small lifestyle changes like better sleep or a healthy diet. You're not powerless here. Every step you take now can help protect your brain or support someone you love. I'd love to hear from you. Have you noticed any of these signs in yourself or someone close? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. If this video resonated with you, give it a like and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more tips to live your best life. Here's to staying sharp, staying connected, and thriving at any age.